I'm Elisa and welcome to Polymer Clay TV. I wanted to start by showing you some of the things we're going to need to make today's project. You're going to need a silk screen or a stamp or something, but this particular silk screen is the Lotus Kaleidoscope silk screen, and it looks really cool. It's the Kaleidoscope Mandala, and we're going to be using the Waverly chalk in pumpkin, since we're making a pumpkin today. And I have the graduated set of cookie cutters here. I'm going to be using the largest one and I believe the fourth largest one, because I'm going to be putting something on the outside and putting something on the inside, which you'll see in a minute. So I have these little, they're actually little ornaments to put your photos in, but I'm not going to use them that way. And they come apart real easy on the back. You just move these and pull it right out. And you can set all the inside parts aside. You're not going to use those for this particular project, but this is what it's going to look like when you get it all apart. I have my little squeegee. You can use a credit card or an old gift card. It'll work fine. A poker in case I get any air bubbles or anything. The brush is simply because you want to paint the outside and inside and all over of your frame, which we're not going to do right here. I have one already done, and you know, I'll show you put together because you don't really need to watch me paint. So of course a roller and a blade is always handy, and I'm using the Graphite Pearl Primo brand, and I love the way it looks. I didn't want to use black, stark black for this project. I thought this would be a lot nicer, so that's what I'm going with. And I also have some of the Spanish olive, which is going to be some leaves that we're going to add to it. So that's all you're going to need today. Get your stuff ready and we'll be back to get started. We are going to start with the silk screen, and it has an orange side and then a lighter orange side or white side, whatever color you want to call that. So the orange side on the silk screen always goes face down on the clay. So I placed it down and I cut off whatever excess clay I didn't need that was in the way. And I just used my rod, as you saw, to I want to make sure there's no air pockets between the two, between the clay and the silk screen. I've shaken up my paint, and again, this is the Waverly, and you can find this. This is by Plaid. I got this at Walmart, but you can find it online, or you can use any paint. Any acrylic paint will work. So I get a nice amount on my brush. Well, it's a squeegee brush. And then I'm going to just run it across, just like so. And if I have a whole bunch left at the end, I scrape it back onto my bottle. But I'm going to keep going until I make sure I have all of the areas covered, and you can switch directions. Basically, you don't want to leave a bunch on there, so you can kind of wipe it back into the bottle like so, but you want to make sure you get a nice coverage. I like to just peel back the edge and kind of see how things are going before I pull it all the way off. I go slow, because if I need to put it back down, if a little area got missed or whatever, going slow will help you a lot. So there you have it. So simple. I had someone contact me this week who said they were afraid of silk screening. I'm like, don't be afraid of silk screening. It's one of the easiest techniques you can ever do. So look how easy. It literally took me 3 seconds to do this, and it's gorgeous. So I'm going to go wash my supplies and come back, and we'll finish up the project. So let's get our project finished. It's so cute. I love it. I'm so excited about this project, but it's so easy too. So I told you we were going to use a couple cookie cutters. And so you want to start by kind of lining up where you want to use your cookie cutter. And I'm going to pull this back a little just kind of so I can see. I think that looks about right. And then I'm going to line the other one where I think it looks right too. So you're going to have two different cuts, obviously. And one will go on the outside here, and one will go on the inside to make this adorable pumpkin. So I have it lined up as best as I can see from back here. So I'm just going to give it a nice little push there, and I'm going to give it a nice little push here. And what I like to do is kind of move my cookie cutter back and forth to make sure I got a nice cut, and do the same with the outer one. It's easier if you're working on a glass or tile surface. And I think I've got it cut pretty good. So I'm just going to pull away the extra. Be careful with your pieces. So let me just use this one that I haven't painted to kind of as a resting place. I'm going to go ahead and paint it, but just so you get the point here, it's going to go laying right on top, and you just want to move it around so that it's where you want it. If you have to stretch it a little, go ahead and stretch it. And then for this part, obviously you just open up the whole thing, and you can discard these or use them for another project. And then this goes straight on here like this. Obviously they're painted first. I have this one ready here, but so you can see, you could actually not paint it orange if you want to. Give it a different look with the craft color. So that's actually up to you. It's if you wanted to paint it orange like the pumpkin or not. But it's that simple. That's really all you got to do before we construct it. And you want to make yourself a little bit of a stem and a couple leaves. So let's do that. And we have leftover. Someone had asked me once, what do you do with the leftover stuff that has the paint? Well, to be honest, I use it. I just, you know, ball it back up and use it for a project, you know. It's not going to hurt anything, but for this I'm just going to grab all the graphite pearl and pull the paint off. But you can certainly use that paint. It's not going to affect anything. And if you don't want to use it in an actual project, use it as scrap. You don't have any waste. So I'm just balling this up, and you can figure out how, you know, what's a good size for your piece that you like. I think this is too much clay. I don't want it so big, so let me cut off a little. Set that aside. It's best to work in, you know, a circle first, and then you can flatten it, which is what I'm doing here. And then I'm just using my fingers to taper it down a little. You know the shape of a stem is usually kind of squared at the top, and you can just make it, you know, whatever you feel like is the right shape for it, and until you get it right. And then, you know, kind of measure it up. This is still a little wide. I'm going to narrow it down. So just play around with it until you get it. You know, it's just up to you. You could add little swirls to it, whatever you want. But I'm just going to add a couple leaves. And so what I did was I made a snake, and I just rolled out the clay. I conditioned it and rolled it out into a snake and cut off a couple pieces. And just, again, circular motion. And then once I have that, I use my finger to pinch the edge in, flatten, pinch, flatten, until I get my shape of the leaf that I want to do. You know, it's a process. Just take a little time for it. Here's one that I've already done. I've shaped it. And so what I'm going to do now is use my poker, and I'm going to kind of drag it along the middle. So I'm creating that middle piece for a leaf. And I'm going to go, I think, up with these. Go up to make my little veins. A little same here on this side. Of course, you can take your time, do what you want. You can add some powder pigments, anything. I discovered I baked this one on the actual ornament, and no distortion whatsoever. So you can actually bake this on your ornament, and even after I was already pre-painted too. So I baked it right on there without any problems. I wanted to test that and make sure so I could tell you guys whether or not it worked. So then you would just go ahead and add your leaves like so. Let me just finish this other one up so you can see what it looks like there and how simple. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this would be nice adding a little powdered pigments to the leaves, I think, or a little ink, or a little pan pastel, and you can make it really super cute. So that looks about right there. And so then after you build your pumpkin, you would bake it and then put it together. And, well, for now I'm going to pull this off just so I can show you how it goes together. I glued this piece on first. You know, I found my center, glued that on, and I just used some Sobo glue, but you can use Weld Bond or something like that to get it to stick as well. And so you just turn this piece over after it's been glued. Actually, you know what? Since it hasn't been glued, obviously you just stick this in. You might have to turn it a little until it fits snugly. And these come back over like so. And let's just slip this in here because it's not glued yet. And so you just place that in there and glue it, obviously. And the same with this. You place it where you want it to go, and then you just glue it down. And how freaking cute is this? I love it. I love it. So simple, but yet so effective. And oops, all right, my bull in the china shop hands here. I didn't tell you guys, I spilled the whole bottle of Mod Podge all over on my feet, all over the floor, all over the wall at the new Things Crafty Creative Center. So that was lovely. I spent some time cleaning that up. I enjoyed that immensely. So there you have that. Anyways, it is an ornament, so you can add a ribbon, you could wire it, you could just hang it on the wall with that, or hang it somewhere with, you know, without adding anything. But there you have it. Super cute and super simple, and you do get totally different looks by painting it orange or just leaving it as the craft. So you can decide what you like. This one actually looks a little spookier, and this one looks a little more festive. So two different looks, but yet the same exact supplies and same exact ease to create it. So I hope you will have fun with this project. And again, this is the Lotus silkscreen stencil with the graphite pearl paint, graphite pearl Primo clay, excuse me, and that's the Waverly paint that I used. So have fun, and come on over, see us at createalong.com. We have all the supplies available there for you, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me.